What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be diving into some Dimir control. Now, as the meta has kind of shifted to being kind of heavily in the mono black / mid-range style decks, I felt that it was time to probably build control, which is kind of like the anti mid-range deck, as you know, you are trying to play some stuff that kind of stabilizes the battlefield into your favor and play that kind of long game. So this is going to be a deck that kind of, you know, takes advantage of playing a bunch of lands and also a lot of disruption in the early game to kind of keep that battlefield clear, to make room for, you know, our big spells to hopefully finish off our opponent. For the most part, this deck doesn't really play a lot that's really like the game ender per se, as you know, we don't really play too many creatures. The only creatures that's actually in the deck that we only play copies of is actually Shieldred, as I think this is a great card, especially since we're playing blue-black, to add into the deck because it penalizes your opponent every time they draw a card, and then we gain a bunch of life whenever we draw a card. And we have, you know, various ways in the deck to draw some cards, which is definitely kind of one of those things that I kind of want to build a deck around of. The other thing too with this deck that I actually found to be kind of interesting as well is, you know, Lily on the Veil. This is something that I was unsure if I really wanted to play here. I was kind of thinking between this and Kaito, but I actually leaned on Liliana just because she is a little bit of a built-in, you know, kill spell in the -2, and the fact that, you know, sometimes in the late game that +1 is definitely not that bad, especially when your opponent's hand's kind of thin. She's actually kind of, you know, taken over games against my opponent because, you know, they have 1 or 2 cards left in their hand, and the +1 was kind of effective, getting rid of probably a tough decision when it came to figuring out what they want to discard. Outside of that, you know, we just played a bunch of counter spells and a bunch of removal for the most part. You know, we got 2 copies of Cut Down, we have a couple Syncopates. You know, in the early game, it can be a great counter spell that if your opponent taps out for a spell that it costs 3 and we only have 1 mana or 2 mana open, we can make them have to pay that additional 1, which they don't have. And the other benefit of playing Syncopate in today's meta is because of Tenacious Underdog. It's a great counter spell against a spell like that where it reoccurs from the graveyard. So if you counter the spell, it gets exiled instead of going to the graveyard, which I do think is kind of a good thing to have in a control deck if you're looking to, you know, be anti-mono black. We have a couple copies of Infernal Grasp. We have 3 copies of Bankbuster because we want to keep on getting that value just in case we do get matched up against decks, you know, like mono black, where they're trying to target your hand by making you discard. Bankbuster is great because, one, you know, after we remove the 3 counters, we get the 1/1 token and a treasure token, which the 1/1 token can crew the Bankbuster with its crew 3 ability. And, you know, just tap in 2 to draw cards is great, and the fact that it's artifacts, it gets around like things like Invoke Despair, which mono black definitely does play, and doesn't really play a lot of things to remove artifacts. So Bankbuster is great, I guess, against those mono black matchups. We play 3 copies of Silver Scrutiny, and this is kind of an interesting card, right? It's a 2x spell where, you know, we draw based on how much we pay for X, and if X is 3 or less, we get to draw that many cards, and as if it had flash or if it was instant speed. And if we don't, we pay the, you know, 4 or 5, whatever it is, we draw that many cards. You know, it depends on the game state where you want to kind of draw a bunch of cards. Like if you're looking for answers, this is great to maybe do at the end of your opponent's turn. If you're looking to just kind of fill your hand back up, still have mana open, you can even pay a bunch of mana and draw a bunch of cards as well. So, you know, it's kind of one of those cards that we can kind of balance one way or the other depending on what the board state is. We play 4 copies of Midhook Massacre because it's probably the best removal currently in mono black. The fact that it gives life gain every time an opponent creature dies, and we gain life every time a creature we control dies. So it's definitely good there. We are playing some Urtai Scorn as another kind of counter spell. It costs 1 less to cast if opponent casts 2 or more spells this turn, and that happens here and there, not always, but it's always good to have a counter spell that does kind of counter, you know, count a little bit less in the later game. I already kind of went over Lily on the Veil. She's kind of, you know, a 2 of in the deck, just kind of for that +1 and -2 ability. I haven't gotten to the point of doing the -6, but I definitely could see if we're in full control that we could get there, and probably at that point, if we're about to do that, our opponent may just scoop. Then we also have Devious Cover-Up, because nothing's better than, you know, throwing cards back into your deck and counter target spell. And yet again, another counter spell. If we counter a spell this way, it gets exiled, and then we get to shuffle up to 4 target cards from our graveyard to our library. So another good kind of let's refill up the deck kind of card. We are playing 3 copies of Shieldred, just kind of a way to kind of drain our opponent in that early game if we get her out. And then we gain life every time we draw a card. And like I said, we have a bunch of ways to draw those cards. And she's definitely really hard to get rid of on the battlefield unless your opponent has some sort of spot removal that can just spot removal her, or just like a board wipe of some sort. But, you know, if she stays out for a few turns and we drain our opponent for a few points of damage, she definitely does her job. We also have Sorin the Mirthless, just a 4-mana Planeswalker with the +1 ability that we can just look at the top card of the library. Depending on how much the converted mana cost is, we can choose to pay that life, and we get to draw that card. We can -2, get the 2/3 Vampire, and yet again, you know, ultimate ability, if we get there, we can -7, deal 13, and gain 13. So definitely good there. And of course, the top end of the deck is Invoke Despair. So really all, we're just trying to keep that board clear and just kind of slowly take over the game to the point that it just becomes a grind, or probably at some point our opponent would just kind of scoop if they kind of see where the game is going. And a lot of the cards that we have to draw spells take full advantage of that gain life ability of Shieldred, whether it's Invoke Despair, whether it's Silver Scrutiny. A lot of those cards can gain us big chunks of life pretty quickly, which definitely I think I enjoy about the deck. And then the mana base, we are playing 26 lands, which for some reason, I sometimes have trouble still, even with 26 lands in the deck, of consistently drawing enough lands with, almost half the deck being lands. So it's definitely kind of interesting there, but we are playing, a fair amount of islands, 2 Ottawaras, 8 Swamps, 1 Takenuma, 4 of the Dismal Backwaters for that little bit of life gain, and also dual land. We still have Shipwreck Marshes as well as a dual land, and then we are playing 2 copies of Xander Lounge. Worst case scenario, we draw them early, we play them on the battlefield. Worst case scenario, in the late game, we can at least cycle for 3 and draw a new card if we don't we don't need that land. So, we are playing the tri-lands, even though we're not playing any red. So that's the only reason why, if you import this in, it says that it's red, is because we are playing Xander's Lounge. But it's just there for really more so mana fixing than anything. But with that out of the way, this deck has performed fairly well. I've been playtesting before I actually started recording this video. Right now, in the variation that I have built, it's about 8-4 currently in the meta, with a 67 overall win percentage in the gold rank of the meta. We're 8-4, 61% on the play, 57% on the draw, which is definitely very good. The tough matchups really are just the more aggressive matchups. Like, the only game I've really lost to of a deck that is in the meta would be Mono Red. There was also a Mono Blue, my opponent was literally playing a control pile, so it was just kind of like control versus control. And then we are 2-1 against Mono Black, which is definitely an important matchup, just because Mono Black is kind of the dominant deck type in the meta. We're 2-1, which is definitely not that bad. So, overall, we're just going to dive into some games, kind of see how this goes. I'm not sure how many games I'll add to this video, just because we'll see how long it is. I don't want the video to be like 10 hours long of just one game, just grinding it out. But with that out of the way, let's just dive in and let's just kind of see how we do. Just want to give a special shout out to the channel members here on my YouTube channel. You can also become a channel member yourself down below the video, hitting that join button. It definitely helps out a lot, and I just appreciate you guys for your support. Opponent goes first. Hand's not bad. We do have spot removal. We have 4 lanes, which plays well right into Shieldred. And we have a counter spell, so hopefully we have some early game disruption. Does kind of stink that we're on the draw. It's a disadvantage for a control deck because your opponent's always ahead, so you're kind of always playing from behind. But if we can stabilize enough, maybe we'll take advantage of the matchup. And it really depends on what our opponent's playing as well. There also looks like they're playing... Well, let's start off with Island, because that's actually going to hold priority from Syncopate here and kind of see what they do. Maybe our opponent will consider if they play something and be like, they have a priority stick. Okay, so we're playing Grixis. Probably Grixis Vampires has kind of been popular. Sure. We'll play this. We'll say go. Sure. I'll kill that. Go at 18. They probably follow it up with a creature, which is not the worst, right? Meathook's not bad. I will play the land, though, and we'll say go. Sure. The question is, what are they going to follow up with their Blood Tithe Harvester? They go to the Corpse Appraiser. We'll actually syncopate that for 1. Autopay. I'll play Shieldred, even though the shields are down, but they may have to spend mana to take care of it if they want to get rid of it. Sure. We're in a good spot now, actually, right? Because, they don't have much going on. We'll get rid of their creatures. Gain some life points back. We're going to say go because we don't want them to actually draw into... we don't want them to play their Tenacious Underdog from the graveyard, so we'll leave back a blocker. They're not going to want to block into a 4/5. And it's definitely tough to get rid of unless they have spot removal. And the benefit of them drawing cards right there is that we just did 4 points of damage and we didn't have to swing. So definitely not bad. And our opponent's definitely in a tricky spot here. Sure, Corpse Appraiser's fine. We don't have any creatures in our graveyard. And this allows us to kind of figure out what we need to do based on what they're playing. We gain some life. We'll say go. We're just going to say go. Just drain them. You know, this is kind of like where we take over. We have a counter spell. We have some draw spells. So depending on what they do here, we can kind of base off of what we do off of that. I mean, they may try to get aggressive. And what I'll probably do here is instead of countering them playing Tenacious Underdog and exiling it, I may block with the Shieldred and then kind of see what they do from that process. Because if they try to kill Shieldred after it goes down a little bit in life points, I can just straight up counter it. Sure. Sure. We're going to do this for 3, kind of refill our hand back up with a little bit of card draw. A lot of land, but we gain 6 life. Another land, which is not great. We gain more life. We'll play another land and we'll say go. I mean, we're at 30 life, so I mean, I'm not in a position that I'm behind. Like, even if they, make a ton of creatures on board, we're not in a terrible position. Sure. Looking for an answer. Exile a creature. They're exiling their own underdog, so that's good for us. Interesting. So we're only swinging for 6. I can take 6 because I can just gain it right back up with playing another Scrutiny. And we're at 24, which is a great life total. We'll say no. Put these back. Because that they're going to copy, and we don't want them to do that. We'll take that action. We'll reshuffle. Sure, they're gonna draw a card. We're gonna gain a life, which is good. They're gonna draw. Oh wait, they don't draw a card. I'm thinking it's a different card. Scrutiny free for 1 is not good. We're gonna gain some life. We'll say go. All right, 6. Sure. Can't copy it. It's legendary. I mean, I'm in no pressure, right? Like, we're still in no pressure. Our opponent's still kind of behind. They're at 6 life. We just gotta wait it out, essentially. Sure. No blocks. I'll take it all. Sure. We're at 14. We'll do this for 3 again. And we'll Otawara their creature back. And I guess they don't want to finish that game, I guess. I mean, they're not dead. They're just behind. We're on the play. Hand's a little bit slow, but I don't mind it, right? We have our mana. We do have Meathook Massacre just in case. If we need to play it early. We also have our Devious Cover-Up. We have a Shieldred. We just need some cards to draw, maybe. Maybe another counter spell or another turn 2 play. Something to do early. Our opponent mulliganed, I think, which is good for us. I guess now they're thinking about what to put back, which is not terrible. Though they're on the draw, so, you know, middle into 6 is not the worst. See him on a blue. Delvers, you know, that's something to worry about, but it's not the worst. We're just going to play another Xander Lounge, get it out of the way. Drew another land, which is not great. They didn't get their card to flip, which is good for us. That's fine. Sure, we'll take one. Not the card I want to see, but, you know, we're not in a position that we need to, like, rush out onto the battlefields. We'll see what they do here on turn 2. They didn't flip again, which is good for us. If they multi-spell, that's good. They're looking like they're playing tempo. So taking 2 points of damage while we build up our board is not bad. We'll just say go. Like I feel like that's an obvious counter spell, right? We're playing into 3 mana. Like, what's the point? Why would we do that? I mean, the downside is currently with our board state, we only have just a devious cover up for counter spell, so it's not really that good. Though we're not really dying, right? Like 2 points of damage a turn is not bad. I mean, eventually they will flip their card, so there is that. But yet again, might as well just kind of hang back. Don't want to play into a counter spell. Sweet. They got Essence Capture, which is, you know, it's kind of rough. Though it's not a counter spell that counters what we got going on here. Sure. So now we're taking a little bit more here. Let's just talk Enuma. Let's kind of mill a little bit. Let's kind of freshen up the top of our library because we need to, you know, get some things out of here. They can't do anything about it since it's the ability. And like the other thing is I'm not trying to play right into an Essence Capture. There's no point. Sure. I think I have enough. Yeah, I have enough mana to actually kill a creature and also play a devious cover up to protect that counter. So in that case, I probably will go for Ledger Shredder to protect it. We'll get this back, this back, this back, and we'll get a land back. Why not? We'll take that action. Just had to wait for them to put their shields down, you know? It's one of those things with this kind of game. Get a land. This is a great time to probably invoke Despair. Just clean up the board. They don't have haste. We draw 2 cards, drain them for 4. Interesting. I now have enough mana to protect Shieldred. Right? We'll see what happens. Maybe they have another Essence Capture that does nothing. They don't get a +1/+1 counter. We'll see what happens here. We'll see if they want to play another counter spell. We'll get back these 2 cards. If they want to counter my counter, that's fine. It pretty much turns off their hand, right? Like, their hand's not really that good. We still get to put cards back in our library, which is amazing. And now they only have 2 cards. Sure. We'll get hit for 2 points of damage. Could use a draw spell. Haven't drawn a Bank Buster. Those are in the deck. They have 1 card in hand. Liliana's good, right? We can make them discard Liliana or counter Liliana if they want to. Discard your card. I'll discard my land. All right. Are you gonna pay? Well, we'll get rid of their bigger creature. Gain a life point. Okay. I guess Liliana's a threat. Well, plus again. Syncopate. I mean, I feel like it's weird if they hold on to something, right? Like, that just allows me to kind of do whatever I want. And then it keeps me in the game. And then they're kind of like forced to play whatever they have in their hand. I mean, they could have killed me by now because I didn't really draw anything to win the game. Sure. We'll go to 4. We'll auto-R back our Meat Hook Massacre. We'll Meat Hook for 1. See what they do. They only have 1 card in hand, so if they counter this, then we can play Sorin, which is good for us. I'll pay the 2. I will now Sorin. And we'll get a creature on the battlefield, so now we have something to protect. And then we hopefully have something to attack into what they have going on. Sure. We'll gain 2, and then we'll draw, or hopefully draw. Do you gotta flip? Or do you not want to reveal it? That's the real question. Ooh, either creature or land. We're doing 3 to Sorin. Okay. Well, plus. For reveal. Play. Might as well cut down when they have nothing in hand. Gain a life point. We're up to 8. Go to 10. They're at 12. We have a Syncopate. The question is, are we going to outgrind them at this point, right? We hopefully will gain enough life that it won't matter based off what we pay with the +1. And I guess our opponent's going to scoop. They don't want to finish out grinding because they're in top deck mode. We're on the play. hand is very blue. And only 2 lands, so I think that's an easy mulligan. We'll keep 6. I'm actually going to dip the Invoke because we have a lot of card draw. So I actually don't hate this hand that we redrew. I think this is the better of the 2 hands. All right, our opponent is also a tap land gamer. Not sure what tap land, what tap lands they're playing for, but play double tap lands, kind of say go, leave open a cut down. Sure. They get their planes, we cut down their creature, just because might as well. Keep the board clean. We literally drew back an Invoke Despair, which is good. We need 1 more black mana, but then we're pretty good. All right. Sure, get rid of my cut down. We'll say go, kind of wait and see. We'll get hit for 4. I'm not really worried about 4 points of damage. I'm going to counter whatever they play here. Summon 0. Sure. We drew a land. We invoke. Get rid of their creature. So they're playing like an Orzhov pile, which is not bad. Orzhov's a pretty interesting deck. Sure. I'll take 3. That's fine. Hopefully another land, actually. I would like 6 lands. 6 lands is actually really good. Well, that's not a land. I could tap to draw into one. I really don't have any other plays. All right, Xander's Lounge isn't what I was looking for, but it's still something. Let's say go. I could just draw a card if I wanted to. Sure. Pay some life. We go to 12. Sure. I guess they're doing a check. I don't know. It looked like there was some hesitation before it moved phases. Meat hook for 0. Sure. Yeah. No. Yeah, we'll just wait. Sure. We lose a life. They get to draw a card. Not bad, though. Shieldred's not bad in this position, though it does leave her open for some damage. I'm not going to tap her, just because if they have something like a Wand or an Emperor, I don't want them to just be able to exile her. We'll get a crew out of it. This may just turn them off from attacking with sure. We'll crack the clue. No, you know what? Let's just crack the Reckoner. Play another Bank Buster. Say go. We get those back. Exile that. We'll take that action. Sure. Could use another land. I'm so far behind on lands. So it's like an Orzhov control versus, I guess, maybe Dimir control. It's the battle of the control decks. They have the land advantage, which is definitely hurts us in this position. And there's the Wandering Emperor, like I suspected. Sure, they go to 5. We go to 5 as well. We go to... Very aggressive. Very aggressive, I would say, on our opponent's side. Also kind of crazy, I haven't drawn a land. I'll take that action. I'll put a counter spell back in my deck. Sure. We go to 2. We go to 3. We go to 2. Good game? Yeah, good game. Play Liliana. They gain a life, lose a life. Sure, resolve. We crack our Bankbuster. We get our 1/1. We get a land finally. And then we accrue the other Bankbuster. And we swing for 3. Pretty good for being down. You know, overall. On the play, keepable. 3 lands. Hopefully we draw more this game. We got a black mana. We got open cut down. Our opponent's probably like, oh man, they're mono black. They play black mana. All in reality, we're Dimir. It's just that we want to keep mana open in case they want to do stuff. We'll play blue mana, say go. Now we have 2 different types of removal open. Infernal Grasp. Sure. Let's get rid of it. Might as well get rid of it as it's on the cheap. We'll say go. Sure. A lot of land. So they're a Reanimator deck. So note to self, we have to kind of keep our mana open. Might as well kill their token so that their +1/+1 doesn't have a target. Keep the board clear. Still some stick. We'll play our... Play this and we'll say go. The -2 does nothing. There's no creatures on the battlefield. We'll Devious Cover up that. We'll get these 2 cards back into our deck. Sure. We'll shuffle those back in. Sweet. A card that eats creatures. Right? Whenever it attacks, it eats a creature. Or exiles a creature card. Yeah. We're discarding. Looking for an answer. I guess they're like, well, this blood's not going to do anything. Get a land. Sure. I'll take 3. Syncopate's not bad. We will Meat Hook for 1. And we'll play another land so we have 2 mana open in case they play some crazy sort of, you know, spell here to do something. Though we are pretty behind. Like, they have more card value. That's fine. We'll really take 2, right? I'm going to keep the counter spell for possibly like the enchantment that they get a creature back from their graveyard. Harvester, sure. Invokes, not bad. Though it puts us shields down, so I think it's a wait and see kind of thing. Kind of see what they're doing. We're not really in that position that we're behind. Sure. We'll take 6, we go to 10, we gain 1, we go to 11. Talking Numa's not bad. We'll say go, see what they do. Yeah, see, this is kind of what I was looking for. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a good chance that they were either going to peep on our hand, look for a card, you know, kind of do something that would have taken a full advantage. Shieldred's actually really good in this position, if it sticks. And they have a kill spell. We at least gain a point of life. We're at 9. They're at 11. We're definitely not dead. Sure. They're at 9. We go to 2. And then we go back up to 3. Oh, that's not great. We'll drain him again. See what kind of card advantage we can get out of this. I mean, we're not dead yet. We're not in a good spot, but we're not dead. Sure. We'll take that action. We can shuffle up our deck a little bit, get a land card into the battlefield. We'll make them sacrifice because we have to. If not, they can just underdog us and whatchamacallit here. We're gonna say go. I mean, underdog puts them in a weird position because they take 2 points of life. Sure. And then we lose, right? We were 1 land away from... It was a close game, I would say, overall. We'll go first. I'll keep, because our hand has 4 lands in it, so that's a plus from the previous games where we didn't get a single land. Green, white. Selesnya? Selesnya. We'll get rid of it before it grows, and we'll say go. Sure. Sure. We'll draw. Get a land, which is good. Another meat hook is fine. We'll meat hook here. Clean up the board before those things grow out of our meat hook range. Gain 2 life. They do get their Kami back, which is, you know, a downside, but still not bad. There's also a possibility I probably should have gotten Xander Lounge down on turn 1, because now it's kind of awkward to get Xander's Lounge down. Tap land. Are we playing... We are playing Kami. And we're playing another Generous Visitor. Okay. Otawara is good here. I mean, I could just meat hook for 2 again. Just clean up the board. Keep the board clean. I mean, they're slowly running out of cards. Maybe they have cards to pump. Kami doesn't come back here. Then we can maybe set up a Devious Cover-Up if Kami does come back at some point. Sure, doggo. Draw a card. Naturalist, that's fine. Lily is interesting. We'll say go. Kind of see what they do. We're not really in any pressure, right? 3 points of damage. They gain a little bit of life. It's not really too big. We don't have enough mana to counter and also draw a card, so we'll kind of do the wait and see thing. We'll take both these back. I don't want them to play Fight Riggin. Like, they can have multiple. If they do, they do. Sure. $21. They're at 21. Another Bank Buster. No. We'll say go. Maybe we can draw a card here. Jeez. So much pressure. So much pressure. They don't have Mashako out. They kind of slow down. They don't kill us as quickly. We'll shuffle the 1 counterspell back in our deck. Recycling. Okay. That's good for us. Take 4. Down to 17. Oh my god, another Bank Buster. We'll draw. I could use another land here. That's not bad. Drain him for 2. We have a big 4/5 now on the battlefield, which definitely is a problem for them. They could have removal, right? That'd be like the one thing. Reveal top card. Ooh. What are we doing here? Sure. No blocks. My turn. Land. Gain 2 life. We'll draw a card. Another land's good. We gain some life. We'll play another Bank Buster. And we'll say go. We'll ping them for 2 points of life. Reveal on top card. If it's a creature, planeswalker card, put it in your hand. Otherwise, it can be put on the bottom of your library. Ooh. Sure. We'll crew one of these. Pass to attackers. Retacking? No. All right, well, we'll draw. EV's cover-up's good. We draw again. I think we do. We'll auto-pay. Okay, that's good. Drawing, drawing. We'll play Lily. We will make a player sacrifice a creature. We gain a life point. We'll go to combat. We'll say go. Sure. Sure. Revealing top card. Pass into attackers. No. Pass the damage. Sure. We'll just get rid of Kami, and we'll put these two back in our deck. Take that action. Pass the end turn. We go to my turn. Otawara's good. Lily's also really good here. We'll make him sacrifice another creature. We will recruit for 3. We will swing at Ajani, killing Ajani. And we'll say go. Sure. Sweet. Back to a 2/2. We'll say go. Sure. We're hiding. What are we hiding? What are we hiding, opponent? A card. I feel like you can't attack here because I could just Bankbuster. Okay. We go to 18. Opponent goes first. Hand has 4 cards, 4 lands in it again. Could be slow depending on the matchup, but you know, Meathook Massacre is not bad. She rolled is also really good. I guess we play our tap land on turn 1. We have 3 black, which is definitely not bad as well. And we also have double blue in that process. Rakdos. Okay. Rakdos could be good. Could be Grixis. Harvester. Okay, okay, we're you know, Harvester is a little scary. But it's not the worst thing ever. $17. Say go. Autowars 4. We have double land. We have a counter spell. Depending on what they do here, they could try to ramp their deck back up. They could also Ob Nixilis here. Trust. Oh, you know what? I messed up. I messed up. We will play Vampire. I should have played another blue. I always do that. I always forget to double blue here. That's fine. Takes a little bit of heat off of me. They didn't really add more to the board, which is good. I don't have any creatures. You have a... You don't have to get rid of a card. So there is that. Wipe the board up, gain 3 life. They can underdog from the graveyard, which is, you know, an issue, but definitely something that's not, you know, that we can't get out of. Sure. You're going to drain me for 1 point of damage, opponent? I could just invoke Despair, which is actually not a bad play. But I think She Rolled is not a bad play here because we drain him for 2 points of damage. They have to kind of get rid of her on the battlefield. Or if we invoke next turn, we gain 6 points of life. Bankbuster's fine. Okay. So they're in a position where they haven't drawn their land. And we'll drain them for 4. We'll gain 4. Actually, we'll gain 5 from the 1 from the Trespasser. We'll say go. We'll drain it for 2. There's no point in attacking if they could just possibly draw top deck a land and counteract that. Sure. Gain 2 more. We'll kill their Harvester so they don't sacrifice. Sure. Be aggressive if they want to block. I mean, they activated it, so... And they don't block, which is weird, right? You'd assume that if they weren't blocking, that they'd be doing something else, but... And our opponent scoops. And we are back to the deck here. Overall, I think the deck performed fairly well. You know, it is that balance of we're really just playing control and just trying to punish our opponent for what they're trying to do by playing counter spells and disrupting whatever creatures they put out onto the battlefield. You know, in the 25 or so games I played with the deck, yes, I played 25 games with this deck so far since I built it. It is about a 60% win rate. I do think some of those losses really weren't our fault. You know, sometimes the deck just didn't draw the lands, even though we do play 26 lands. It kind of makes me wonder if I should probably go up to like 27 or 28. Though I do feel like that's quite a bit. Though in control, you want to make sure you hit those land drops, which are key, but you also want to make sure you hit stuff. So it's definitely that weird balance, I would say, when it comes to control. I know I'm no expert, so I know I probably made a bunch of misplays playing the deck, though. But in the meta, it felt very, very good, right? Like, the only games we really lost to were the more aggressive decks. So, like, I think the big pain point for it was just playing against Selesnya. And I think in some of those games, it's kind of where we had our issues with the land base. It didn't work out for us what we were trying to do. But overall, you know, if you're someone who likes to play control, I think it's actually in a very good spot because it does fairly well against the current meta. It's just, you know, it does a lot of things to just slow down what your opponent's doing and get you to that point that you can either reoccur some of the spells you've casted already in the game with a Devious Cover-Up, or just slowly, you know, Meat Hook Massacre, Bank Buster, and just get a lot of value for, you know, not really having to pay a lot of mana. I'll have the deck list down in the link below. You know, if you want to check it out, maybe import it yourself, maybe make some tweaks based on how you like to play control. It's definitely a deck that I find to be enjoyable, though the games do take quite a bit. You know, we've been playing this deck for about 3 hours to play those 25 games, which isn't, I guess, a terrible breakdown when it comes to how the deck performs. But if you want to check it out, like I said, it's down in the below. If you like the video, hit that like button. It definitely helps out a lot. If you're new here, you want to post new videos on the channel like this one, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video.